श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्ये सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विशेषे पुरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नमो धर्माय महदे नमः कृष्णाय वेदसे ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमस्कृत्य धर्मान् वक्ष्यामि शाश्वतान्। नमो भगवते तस्मै व्यासाय तेजसे प्रसादात् वक्ष्यामि नारायणकथां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्. So we previously talking at Yudhishthira becoming angry at Drona, and he says he was going to kill him. He himself will kill him because he cannot depend on any of these people, and he cannot tolerate that army of his is slaughtered by Drona like that. So he goes towards Drona, and Vyasa comes and asks him to stop and explains that Drona will be killed, and in 4 days he will become victorious in this battle. So like this he says, and when he says that, Yudhishthira stops. So Yudhishthira stops himself from going towards Drona, and or even though he has been grieving because of the death of Ghatotkacha by Karna, he still in that grief and anger, he was still filled with grief and anger because of that. And seeing his army held like that, Duryodhana's army held, stopped by Bhima, Yudhishthira addresses Drishtadyumna saying that go and resist Drona. You are born with bow and arrows and a scimitar in your hand. You came from Agni itself for destruction of Drona. So that's why very happily go and rush towards Drona. You should not have any fear. Also Janameja, Shikandi, Drumuka's son, Yashodhara, all of them will let them rush towards Drona and go against Drona. And let Nakula, Sahadeva and sons of Draupadi's sons as well, along with Prabhakaras, Drupada, Virata, with their sons and brothers, and Satyaki, Kaikeyas, the rest of the Pandavas, Dhananjaya, Arjuna, all of them rush against Drona from desire of killing him. Let all of the Rathis, everybody on the chariot riders, elephants, horses, all of them, and foot soldiers, all of them go against Drona. So like this, Yudhishthira instructs everybody, asking them to rush. So then when he orders like that, in that night, all the troops started attacking, rushing towards Drona, and with the single aim of killing Drona in that battle, all of them start rushing. And when they start rushing like that, suddenly again, seeing them, all of them go towards Drona like that, Duryodhana, with the desire of protecting Drona's life, he also comes with his troops and try to stop these Kaurava, Pandava warriors and Panchalas, everybody rushing towards Drona, he tried to stop. At that night, about 3 yamas almost been complete, so that's again 3 yamas, an hour, first half hour, first half and half, 1.5 hour, and the last 1.5 hour being called Sandhya in the night time, and then in between there are 3 yamas, almost 3 hours equal. So like this, 4 yamas. So 3 yamas completed. So the night was terrible. It is destructive of all those creatures. So it felt, even though it felt like 1,000 yamas time has spent on that night, and while they were being killed by one another, mangled by one another, while some of them in that night in the sleep, they sat, sleep was very heavy on their eyes as it became close midnight, and most of those Kshatriyas became cheerless, and the troops as well on the Kaurava side and also on the Pandava side, they had no more weapons or arrows. Many of them did not have any weapons in their hand because they ran out of weapons, and passing their time like that, the warriors of both armies with modesty and energy Observing their duties, they did not abandon their divisions, they still continued to engage with one another. And some others, while blind with sleep, abandoning their weapons, they laid themselves down, and some laid themselves on the back of elephants, some on the chariot, some on the horseback. Again, with sleep, they became very much perfectly motionless, some of them. And other warriors, while they were yet awake in that battle, they dispatched those who did not get sleep. They tried to kill the enemies in that battlefield. While others, losing their senses in that sleep and the darkness, they dreaming in sleep, they killed themselves, and some attacked their own troops and some enemies and things like that they were happening. So it was, the battle was terrible, dreadful in that battlefield. Many warriors again, they stood with drowsy eyes in the sleep, some of them brave, even during that terrible darkness, even though they were blind with sleep, yet they were guiding along this battlefield, they were killing one another in the battlefield. Seeing this condition of the soldiers, Arjuna, very loud voice, he says that all of you with your animals are worn out. With exertion, you've been very tired and you're blind. With sleep, now you cannot open your eyes. You are very tired. So you are all covered with darkness and dust. So therefore, if you all like, you may rest. So Arjuna gives that loudly. He says that. And he also says that indeed in this battlefield, close your eyes for a while, and then when the moon will rise, at that time, once again we can start attacking each other. With the aim of attaining the heaven, we can start attacking each other. So, but for now, take some rest. So when Arjuna says that, hearing those words of Arjuna, all the warriors on the Kuru army, they agreed to that, addressing one another. They loudly said, "O Karna, O Arjuna, O Duryodhana, stop! Sorry, O Karna, O Duryodhana, stop attacking, because Pandavas have stopped attacking us. They stopped striking us. So you also stop attacking." So like this, the soldiers, everybody started saying. Then those words of Arjuna uttered, said loudly in that Pandava army, as well as Kauravas, both sides abstained from battle in that night, which is past midnight. So then again, those words said by Arjuna were highly applauded by everybody, including by Devatas, Rishis who were watching from the sky. They were all applauded, and those words onto the troops as well. They started praising Arjuna for his words and looking after his soldiers in that battlefield. And Duryodhana's side army as well, they were very happy with the prospect of rest and sleep. They sincerely blessed Arjuna in their mind. They said that in you, you have all the Vedas as well as all the weapons. You are the intelligence, you have the intelligence and also prowess. In you also there is dharma and compassion for all the creatures. And since we have been comforted by you, even though we are enemies, we wish you, see, you comforted us in this nightly battle. That's why we wish you good luck. Let prosperity be with you, and soon whatever the objective you want to achieve, let that be you will be successful in that. Like this, Kaurava troops, all of them started blessing Arjuna for what he did in this battlefield. Again, we see in these 2 days, 3 days now. So we saw previously when Arjuna was 14th day, when Arjuna was going after Jayadratha, Krishna stops Arjuna movement because horses were tired. Again, looking after his animal. And here again, we see that Arjuna stopping the battle on both sides, saying that let's stop because everybody is tired. Everybody is tired, and so he stops the battle. So, like this, they show compassion to all the soldiers, and Kaurava's troops, they blessed Arjuna, soldiers, everyone blessed Arjuna, and all of them became silent. Immediately became overcome with sleep. All of them became silent. Some laid themselves down on the horseback, some on the chariot boxes, some on the necks of the elephant, others bare on the ground. Many men with their weapons, maces, swords, battle axes, lances, whatever armor they had, covered on With that itself, they slept on the ground, and the elephants also tired with sleep. They made earth cool through their nostrils, blowing through their trunks, uh, air wind blowing. They in that night they fanned all the soldiers who were sleeping in there. It felt like they were fanning all the soldiers with cool air coming through their nostrils in that battlefield. So like this, the all the soldiers, everybody stopped battle on that 14th, end of 14th day, 15th morning, night. Everybody stopped. So then again, horses with their coverings, everything, they stood and they started sleeping. Everybody started taking. Then, after some time, moon started rising in the sky, and then again on that eastern side, people started seeing. So soon, as soon as moons came around, then gradually light started to cover everywhere, and it became the battlefield became illuminated once again. And then the world again, once again, it more got illuminated, and some continued to roam about, while again, once again, people started preparing for the battle resumption once again. But some started continuing to roam about, some abstained, and like this, they were awakened by that moonlight, and the battle once more commenced. So one thing to note here, this is the 14th day, end of 14th day of the battle. And if you go back to Udyoga Parva, Krishna tells Karna, that is, Krishna visits Hastinapura for peace offering. And when Kaurava's Duryodhana did not agree to that, on his way back he meets Karna, and then after leaving Karna, while leaving Karna, sends a message saying that in 7 days there is a new moon, Amavasya, and let the battle start from that day. Right? So that's what we see in Udyoga Parva. Here we see that the moon rise happens after midnight, so that's around probably after midnight, and sometime soldiers and everybody sleep, and then the moonrise happens. So that's probably, let's say, around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. The moon rises. So if moonrise happens around that time, it means that we are talking about Krishna Paksha. All right. So on Amavasya day, moon rises around just around sunrise time, same time. So it is Krishna Paksha, and you are looking, because it is late in the night, early morning hours, right? So 3, 4 a.m. You're probably looking at Trayodasi, 13th or 14th day of Krishna Paksha, right? So if the battle had started, as we saw in the Udyoga Parva, started on Amavasya, it would have been Shukla Paksha, right? So the entire night you would have had a good moonlight, because we are approaching Purnami on the 13th or 14th day battle. So that means it would have been Purnami, near to Purnami, and the entire night would have been, we'd have had a moonlight. But it looks like battle started at Purnami, and then uh, the 14th day. So we are in Trayodasi Chaturdashi day. So that means the moon uh, came around in the morning, around 3, 4 a.m. In the morning. So that's how it looks like again. So there is a slight gap in what's said in the Udyoga Parva versus what we see here. But considering Krishna said that starts on, we'll go to Kurukshetra, probably it meant going to Kurukshetra, because after going to Kurukshetra, there is again preparations and all the things that happened, right? So, for example, Luca coming, and messengers going back and forth, and all those kind of things. A lot of things has happened. So it may be another 15 days spent there. So, and the actual battle probably started uh, during Purnami day. So that towards the end of this 14 day means we are in Krishna Paksha. So that's just wanted to clarify on that. So the moon rise here. So when the battle once again resumed like this in the moonlight, Duryodhana angrily goes towards Drona, and he tells him in provoking, with inspiring him with joy and also provoking him angrily. He tells Drona that we should not have shown any mercy to Panchalas and Pandavas who were asking for that rest earlier, desiring of doing what is agreeable to you. We showed kindness by letting them to rest. Now those tired Pandavas have taken rest, they become stronger again, and we as well. So Pandavas are protected by you constantly, and that's why they are gaining prosperity in this battlefield. They are gaining, they are winning in this battlefield because of your support to them. Again, all the weapons exist in you, and as well as the knowledge as well, Brahmana knowledge, you have that. But I tell you here in front of you that there is nobody, neither among the Pandavas or ourselves, who is equal to you in the battlefield. But even when you are acquainted, you know all the weapons as well. Without doubt, with those celestial weapons, you are capable of destroying the three worlds, including Devatas, Asuras, Gandharvas, and everything. Pandavas are all afraid of you. You are, however, keep forgiving them, remembering that they are your pupils, or perhaps owing to my own ill luck, you keep forgiving them, you are not punishing them. When Duryodhana says this, Drona angrily responds to him, saying that although I am old, I am still exerting myself in this battlefield to the extent of my own strength. All these men are unacquainted. They do not know these celestial weapons, divine weapons, which I know. If purely from desiring victory, if I release those weapons on them, then it will be a dishonorable act for me to do those kind of things. So, but however, what is in your mind, be it good or bad, I will accomplish that at your command. It will not be otherwise. I will do that, putting forth my prowess in this battlefield, killing all the Panchalas. I will do. I will then take off my armor from this. I will swear this truly. And Drona also then says that if you think that Arjuna was worn out in this battlefield and that's why he asked for this rest, then you don't know what Arjuna is capable of. If Arjuna's anger is excited, neither Gandharvas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, they can venture against him. At Khandava burning, he encountered Indra himself, and Arjuna, with his arrows, he baffled the arrows coming from Indra, Yakshas, Nagas, Daityas, all of them coming towards him. He baffled all of that in while burning the Khandava forest. And also, when those cattle visit you and Karna and went there, at that time when Gandharva was captured, Chitrasena captured, Chitrasena was defeated by Arjuna alone in that battlefield. And similarly, Arjuna, Nivatakavachas, who were the Devatas' enemies, who were unslayable in the battlefield by Indra himself, Devatas themselves, they were defeated by Arjuna. And thousands of Danavas living in Hiranyapura, all of them were defeated by Arjuna. How can a human like us withstand that Arjuna when he is angry? So you have seen in your own eyes with this how Arjuna heroically destroyed Jayadratha coming through these troops as well. So don't think that Arjuna is tired and that's why he asked for that break in the nightly battle. So when Drona said that, Duryodhana angered by those words, and he says that myself, Dushasana, Karna, and Shakuni, dividing this entire host, our troops, into two divisions. We will taking one with us. We will today go and kill Arjuna in the battle. So he says that Karna, Dushasana, Shakuni, and myself, we will take a part of our troops and we will go and kill Arjuna. And you go and face rest of the Pandavas and Panchalas. So hearing that, Drona laughs him and approves what Duryodhana said, and he says that blessings to you. What Kshatriya is there who would go and kill that Gandiva bearing Arjuna in the battlefield? Even Kubera, Indra, Yama, Asuras, Uragas, Rakshasas, they cannot kill Arjuna in the battlefield. Only those who are fools say such a word that you have said in this just now. Who is there in this world who return home safely after being challenging Arjuna in the battlefield? Who can return home safely? As regards to yourself, you are very sinful, you are cruel, you are suspicious of everybody. Even then, that are employed in your welfare, you are ready to rebuke them in this way. So even though we are doing service to you, you are always saying negative things about you. So that's why you go against Arjuna for withstanding, for resisting him in the, for your own sake. You are a well-born Kshatriya. You want battle, so you go and have that battle. You are the root of this hostility. So that's why you go against Arjuna. If you think that you can do it, go and face it. Again, your uncle here, this Shakuni, who is possessed of all the wisdom and observant of Kshatriya duties, take him as well, because this one addicted to gambling, he let him proceed against Arjuna in the battle. He is very skilled in dice, he is wedded to deception, addicted to gambling, and he is versed in cunning and imposture. This gambler, he let him go and defeat that Pandavas in this battlefield. And also take this Karna in your company, who you often boasted that he's from hearing in front of the Dhritarashtra. You kept saying that myself, Karna, and my brother Dushasana, these three uniting together, we will kill Pandavas in the battlefield. That's what you used to say. This boast was heard in every meeting, in every assembly, every court, it was heard. So now accomplish your vow, take this Karna as well, be truthful in your uh, speech by doing that. So again, observing your Kshatriya duty, go and have that battle with Arjuna and see. Let's see what happens. Your death at hands of Arjuna would be worthy of every price. So you have practiced charity, you have eaten everything you desired, you have obtained the wealth to the measure that you wish for, you have no debts, so you have done all one should do. So that's why now go and face Arjuna in this battlefield. Like this, Drona agrees with what Duryodhana said and lets him go and challenge uh, Arjuna in this battlefield. So, like this, when those that 3/4 of that night was already passed away, battle once more commenced between Kurus and the Pandavas. Both sides were elated with joy. Soon after, when the battle was just about to start, at that time, Aruna, Surya's charioteer, uh, he starts coming up hearing and started weakening the splendor of moon. So effectively Arunodaya happens. East was sudden, soon became red color with red rays of Surya coming through in the circular plate of gold. And then all the warriors of Kurus and Pandavas, they alighting from their chariots, horses and elephants and things like vehicles that bore them, they stood with joined hands and they facing sun, they uttered their morning Sandhya prayers, uttering that they welcome that. So again, Arunodaya, Aruna is Surya's charioteer. We heard that in the Adi Parva, right? So Vinata, Aruna is Garuda's elder brother. Vinata had two eggs from Kashyapa. One egg, after many years, it did not hatch, so she broke that egg, and that egg was only first top half was formed, and there was no leg for that bird. So then that he became Aruna Surya's charioteer because he did not need leg to become a charioteer. So he became Surya's charioteer. And the second one is Garuda, who was born of Vinata. So Arunodaya, that's why Arunodaya happens first before Suryodaya, because charioteer comes before the one who is riding on the chariot, right? So it's the car driver we see first and then the passenger behind it. So like that here as well. So Aruna comes first and then Arunodaya happens first. And when that happens, Surya at that time, the Sandhya prayers are done. One thing to note here is that even though it is said in one shloka here by Vyasa or Sanjay narrating this, Vyasa gives this in Mahabharata saying that when that Arunodaya was about to happen at that time. Even though battle was resumed after their nightly rest, short break in the battle, it resumed. Then all of them, Kauravas, Pandavas, on both sides, they alighted from their chariots, horses, and things like that, and then did their Sandhya prayers. So this was again saying here that whatever the situation, Sandhya prayers should not be missed by the Dvijas, the Kshatriyas, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas who have gone through Upanayana Samskara. One should not miss that Sandhya prayer. And Sandhya prayer, Surya Namaskara applies to everybody, not just those who have gone through Upanayana, but everybody must perform at the time of Arunodaya. Before that, at that time one should do. And again, it is many times every Shastra says that if a Brahmana does not perform his Sandhya in the morning and in the evening, he becomes wholly impure, and sins of Brahmahatya and other crimes come down to his head if he does not perform the Sandhya. And the Brahmanas, because Brahmanas are root of the tree, and Sandhya Vandana is the way, and that the Sandhya Vandana is the tree, and Brahmanas are root of it, and Vedas are its branches. The dharmic karmas one performs, rituals one performs, are its leaves. So if Brahmanas do not perform that Sandhya Vandana, then the Vedas and everything do not stand any chance. That's why Sandhya Vandana should be carefully preserved. And if the root that Sandhya Vandana is not performed, or that root of that is cut, then there is no tree, and the branches or leaves, dharmika karmas, or anything that does not do anything. Again, the importance again is if one performs, let's say, any karmas, dharmika karmas, smarta, any karmas, vratas, and all those kind of things, without Sandhya Vandana, it does not give any merits. It will not give any merits because one has to perform Sandhya Vandana. Those Brahmanas have to perform Sandhya Vandana, then only the karmas will result benefit. Here again, this is second time in this Drona Parva we are seeing that morning rituals and Sandhya Vandana mentioned. So previously we looked at, I think, at the end of 11th day, I think, or the 12th day morning, I think, when we looked at how Yudhishthira prepares his morning, when we are looking at that, it again mentions that he goes through morning, waking up even before sunrise. He wakes up and does his morning Sandhya prayers and Agnikarya and everything he does, and all those kind of things mentioned. And again here, even though it is not important in this context, what's happening in this battlefield, Vyasa here highlights again saying that even in that battlefield, they stopped their battle once again now to offer this Sandhya Vandana, perform this Sandhya Vandana. They did not give up on Sandhya Vandana. So, because all of them in that battlefield were Kshatriyas, and they were doing that again, for that they stopped their battle for the Sandhya Vandana. So, again, Sandhya Vandana, the Brahmanas who do not know the Sandhya, who does not perform Sandhya Vandana, is equivalent to a Shudra. And Brahmana, after such as a Brahmana, after death becomes a dog. So that's why Sandhya Vandana must be observed every day. Otherwise, there is no right to perform any other karmas by that Brahmana, I'm saying Brahmana here, effectively Dvijas who have gone through Upanayana Samskara, so if they don't perform that. And this Sandhya Vandana again, I'm going a little bit off track from Mahabharata, pure Mahabharata, Kurukshetra battle, just because the importance of Sandhya Vandana here. Right? So Sandhya Vandana again, one should perform morning Sandhya Vandana, not when we wake up. Okay, it should be performed when the stars are still visible. That means before the sunrise itself. So, and when the sun is in the middle, then the Madhyanika Sandhya, midday Sandhya Vandana should be performed. And when the sun is visibly going down, not fully gone down, fully disappeared, but evening Sandhya should be performed when sun starts going down, and it should be continued till sun fully sets. And similarly, morning as well, it should start when the stars are visible, and ideally Gayatri Japa and things should continue till when the sun fully rises and stars disappear, right? So till that time it should be performed. So like this, three sandhyas that should be performed. Again, there are prayashchittas one could do if for whatever reason one not able to do that, but prayashchitta should not become a practice. It should be a prayashchitta only when one happens. So for example, there are some exceptions when one could miss the time if one is serving a guru or performing a devata karya, say for example, even if some pujas you're performing and then that get delayed because of that you miss the sandhyavandana. There are things like that, or serving the guru and things like that, or a brahman and things like that. Then you may be able to allow to delay it, not miss, delay it. But no other exception, no other reason allowed to miss the sandhyavandana or the sandhyavandana timing. One must rigidly observe that, because that's the only thing that gives the right to perform any other dharmika karya, whether it is study or the performing the karmas, kriyas. Okay, so any of that will one get uh, rights only after performing that. Similarly, Gayatri Japa as well, one must perform Gayatri Japa. Again, one who does not perform those Gayatri Japas during is not eligible to do anything and things like that. So again, uh, the benefits of Sandhya, again, it is because it is one of the Nitya karmas, which, as I said, it gives the right to perform other karmas as well. And Shastra say that one who performs the Sandhya Vandana 3 times a day throughout his life becomes Surya himself by brilliance of that tapas itself. And that's why the Dvija who does his Sandhya Vandana he remains pure irrespective of what he does, and he becomes energetic and he becomes liberated while living itself. So that's why Sandhya Vandana is important. And these are the little things that, even though we are looking deep in the battlefield and things like that, who killed who or how they practice, what is the uh, the strategy they are taking up, and all those kind of things. In between, Vyasa again keeps reminds us regularly that this is the reason why you are listening to Mahabharata stories. We are not listening what happened on that day, Ghatotkacha died or what died. What we are looking here is again couple of things in this nightly battle. Arjuna showing compassion to all the people, both his side and the enemy, saying that stop battle. Okay, we should show compassion when our people are tired. We should show compassion. We should look after them. That's another one thing. And then we also saw the Sandhya Vandana here. So these kind of things keeps coming up. The reason for listening to these stories, Puranas, Mahabharata, Itihasas is because they keep telling us how one should live, what is the dharma, not just the stories, who killed whom and how it battled, how many arrows went through. That is just masala, okay? But the story is actually understanding the dharma. Okay, coming back here to the masala, the story, the Kauravas, like that, they divided into two bodies, one with Drona, one with Duryodhana before him. They proceeded uh, with one division against Somakas, Pandavas, the Panchalas, and like this they proceeded. And seeing that Kaurava troops divided into two parts, Krishna addresses Arjuna and says that keeping your enemies, that is Duryodhana, on your left, place this division commanded by Drona on your right. So like this, he addresses Arjuna, and obedient to that, Arjuna moves to the left of Drona and Karna. Understanding that intention of Arjuna, Bhima addresses Arjuna. He understands what Krishna said, and then he addresses Arjuna. He says that, "O Arjuna, O Vibhatsu, listen towards my words today. The time that object for a Kshatriya ladies bring their children has now come. If at such a time you do not try to win the prosperity, you will then act meanly to the like a useless wretch, like that you will become. So that's why putting forth your prowess pay the debt you owe to Satya, Dharma, and fame and prosperity. So, putting forth your strength, clear that debt today, pierce this division, keep these to your right. So, like this, he says that to Arjuna. Then, when he urges Arjuna like that, Bhima urges, tells those things to Arjuna. Krishna and Arjuna, they go over Drona and Karna, began to resist the enemy all around. Many of those Kshatriyas from Kurus putting forth all their prowess failed to withstand Arjuna, who was advancing at the very front of the troops who were like raging conflagration, and were consuming the troops of Kaurava troops. Then Duryodhana, Karna, Shakuni uh, covered Arjuna with large number of arrows, but baffling all of that, Arjuna continued, and Arjuna again, with lightness of his hand and possessing complete control over senses, pierced every one of those warriors with 10 sharp pointed arrows, and he covered entire troops that's coming through with the arrows. Seeing this battle continuing like that, Drona moving away from that battle, he takes up his station in the north, and then he started. He seemed to resemble like smokeless fire. He was very pure and bright and burning, ready to burn the entire troops on the Panchala side. So seeing Drona like that, blazing with blazing energy and energy inspired with that inspired fear among the Panchala troops. So the Panchalas particularly, they were afflicted with the arrows of Drona. Um, Though suffering great pain, they continued to contend and they continued to battle. Virata and Drupada, they proceeded against Drona, who was battling there. Then the three grandsons of Drupada, their great bowmen, and Chedis as well, they proceeded against Drona in that battle. Drona with three sharp arrows took the lives of three grandsons of Drupada. Like this, they all fell down on the earth. Drona next defeated in the battle the Chedis, Kaikiyas, Srinjayas, all of them he defeated, and then he vanquished all the Matsyas in that battlefield. Then Drupada angrily and Virata as well in that battle shot large number of arrows at Drona, baffling all that arrow shower coming towards them. Drona covered both Drupada and Virata with his arrows, and again covered by Drona, those two angrily began to pierce him in that battlefield. Drona angrily with anger and desire of revenge, he cuts off with a couple of broad-headed arrows the bows of both Drupada and Virata. Then Virata angrily he sends 10 lances and 10 arrows at Drona with the desire of killing him. Drupada as well in angrily he hurls at Drona's chariot a terrible arrow made of iron decked with gold. He hurls that. Drona cuts off with a number of arrows, broad-headed arrows. He cuts off all those lances and other arrows coming from Drupada as well. He cuts off all that. Then Drona, with a couple of well-tempered, broad-headed arrows, he dispatches both Drupada and Virata to Yama's place. He kills both of them in a quick succession. He kills both of them, Drupada and Virata, in that battlefield. Along with also he killed three grandsons of Drupada in that battlefield. So when he was killed like that, when they both of them die, the slaughter of Kshatriyas, Chedis, Matsyas, Panchalas, all of them were happening. Three grandsons of Drupada were killed. So Drishtadyumna, seeing all that things achieved by Drona, became filled with anger and grief, and he swore in middle of all those Kshatriyas there. He says that, let me lose my merits and all my religious karmas I performed, as well as my Kshatra and Brahmana energy I have. So if Drona escapes me today with life, or if he succeeds me in defeating me today, let me lose all my merits of both Brahmana energy and Kshatriya energy and all the religious merits I have achieved. Let all that uh, uh, be lost today if Drona escapes with life or if he manages to defeat me. So like this, he takes a vow, he takes a oath in that battlefield in front of everybody. Having taken that, he supported by his troops, he starts rushing against Drona, and Drona on one side and Arjuna on the another. Like this, Drona was attacked. Drona was attacked from both sides. So the Panchalas then began to strike Drona. So we'll look at what happens with that battle next time when we gather. Thank you.